Holly doll, she was a simple toy designed to teach children. Her plastic body and smiling face evoked nothing but childlike joy. She could pronounce the letters of the alphabet, thus introducing children to the basics of language. But as it turned out, the doll was defective, and after the letter and the doll was silent. The doll could not pronounce any letter after that. But this did not disappoint a little girl named Sophia, who was given the doll for her 5th birthday. The doll was a friend to her who was always there for her and always willing to listen. Sophia spent a lot of time with her, taking her to school and bragging to her school friends. And when they came home, the girl would teach the doll what was good and what was bad. But when her mother found out that the doll was broken and couldn't continue the alphabet, then she threw Holly in the trash, where the doll lay among the remnants of old toys and trash, forgotten and abandoned. But Holly wasn't just any ordinary doll. Her plastic shell held something more than just mechanisms that made sounds. Over time, the doll had learned not only to speak, but also to feel. She felt frustration, anger, and the pain of being discarded. One rainy evening in the dumpster, Holly came to a realization. She shouldn't be just a toy, and she shouldn't be limited. If Sophia could learn the entire alphabet because of her, why should she leave her best friend at the letter N? She decided that she would learn each character of the alphabet all over again, but not in the usual way. She began to not just memorize the letters. She began to connect each one to a human life. Every time Holly killed someone whose name began with the right letter, she was allowed to say that letter. So gradually, she began to learn the alphabet all over again, each letter in its own order of revenge. She realized that each murder would fill her with new knowledge, and she would get closer and closer to her goal of completing the alphabet. From now on, her victims would be people whose names began with the letter she was stuck on. Holly knew that this was the only way she could release her pain and find wholeness. Each kill was a step toward her completion. The more she killed, the stronger she became, for each letter became part of her essence.
A.
The moon hung low in the sky, casting a dim, ghostly glow on the piles of forgotten things. Holly lay among the trash, once a cheerful toy, but now silent, her plastic body cracked and stained from time. The rain had stopped hours ago, leaving dampness and decay in the air, but the doll, cold and lifeless on the outside, was slowly waking up, realizing the truth of her existence. It learned to feel anger, frustration, sadness, and with each passing moment, a thirst for revenge flared within it. Through the silence came the sound of footsteps, soft and uneven, like the shuffling of something lost. She was no longer the toy she had once been. The letter N was a barrier, but now she was ready to move forward, and her first victim would not be chosen at random, but out of necessity.
Adam.
The man who approached the pile of trash was hunched over, his face hidden in shadow, but the faint glow of the moon showed the tattered clothing that clung to his body. He stumbled towards the trash with a quiet muttering. There was obvious aggression in his movements. His breathing was heavy, as if he walked through life with a constant weight on his shoulders, weighed down by his own bitterness. He was a man marked by rage, and it was that rage that would lead him to his doom. Holly's lifeless eyes followed him, watching his approach while her mind calculated everything. She felt the presence of the axe, an old, rusty tool abandoned nearby among the trash. It was perfect. She had seen it before, its sharp edge gleaming in the moonlight. It was a simple weapon, but it carried power. Holly's small plastic hands trembled with anticipation as she slowly reached for it. The man's mutterings grew louder as he approached. He was cursing the world, cursing his life. There was venom in his words, and each one was fueled by years of hostility, a lifetime of frustration and rage. He was aggressive, no, vicious, and it was that aggression that drew him to Holly. "Hello, little toy," he grinned, leaning over her. His voice was rough, mocking, as if he found amusement in the discarded remnants of other people's lives. "What are you doing here, huh?" Holly was silent, her plastic smile frozen on her face. She didn't need words right now. The anger that had been building up inside her, the injustice of being thrown away, it was all coming out. She gripped the axe tightly, its weight settling in her small but already strong hands. Adam turned back around, continuing his search for something useful in the junkyard, and reached down. That's when Holly struck. With a sharp, strong movement, she raised the axe and swung it with all the force her small body was capable of. The blade sliced through the air and plunged into Adam's back with an eerie clang. His body jerked forward, but he didn't fall. The doll swung again, the point digging deeply into his flesh, and then again. Each stroke was a brutal reminder of what she had endured, each stroke an expulsion of the pain she was feeling. Adam groaned, staggered, but his legs buckled beneath him. He collapsed to the ground with a quiet groan, his body jerking involuntarily. Holly stood over him, watching the life drain from his eyes with an unblinking cold stare. Her tiny body trembled, and the axe still remained in his back. The doll leaned in, her voice low and mechanical, but there was some perverse satisfaction in it.
"Hey, Adam, axe, aggressive, I've learned, thank you,"
she whispered, and the letter she had so desperately sought was now hers. Her voice, once broken, was now whole. Every beat, every breath filled her in ways she had never imagined. She was learning, and now that Adam's life had faded, she had a new understanding, a new strength. The doll turned away, leaving Adam's lifeless body behind. His name, Adam, would never again be uttered by human lips, but it would live on in Holly's soul, in the scar the axe had left on his body and hers.